Hey, what's up guys? Let's talk about the Trijicon RMR Type 2 adjustable to see if it's still the best optic out there on the market and the optic which all other pistol optics have been measured by. I'll go over the specs, then I will get into my review and my experience. They're available in 3 different dot sizes, 1 MOA, 3.25, and 6.5. There is 8 brightness settings. All of those are daytime settings, but it's still usable under night vision as long as you just dim it down. There is also an automatic mode. If you do have it in the adjustable mode, after 16.5 hours, if you do not press any of the buttons, it will switch back to the automatic mode. The clicks are 1 MOA of adjustment, so 1 inch at 100 yards. It does take a 2032 bottom loaded battery, so you will have to remove your optic to change out your battery. The battery life is quoted by Trijicon at 4 years on setting number 4. It is an aluminum housing and it is waterproof up to 20 meters as long as you have your ceiling plate underneath and you have the optic torqued down to spec. I've had multiple RMRs. I've had plenty of other good optics. This is still my favorite optic as of now. I have yet to try the Acro P2, so I cannot comment on that, but I've had thousands of rounds through Trijicon RMRs. If I can only choose one optic to have, it would be this one. I carry it in the adjustable mode on daylight setting number 7 most of the time, sometimes number 6. This optic is definitely daylight bright. I just like to have it at a set setting to make sure I can see it on the brightest days and pick it up very quickly. Or if I'm outside in the dark or inside in the dark and I turn on my weapon light, I want to make sure I can see that dot and pick it up quickly through my weapon light. Doesn't bother me that it will switch back to automatic mode if I forget to press any of the buttons after 16.5 hours. If I forget, it's still very usable in automatic mode. It adjusts very fast through different light settings, and it will sense when your weapon light is on and it will compensate its brightness for it. The clicks are kind of audible and tactile, but you can feel them and you can see the dial turning, so there's no issue there. The battery life is good. I don't care that you have to remove the optic to change out the battery, because the battery life is very good. It lasts longer than a holosun. I've never had a battery die in a Trijicon RMR ever. I usually try to change them out about every 6 months. I've gone a year. I've known people who have gone 2 years. So I don't care that I have to remove it because the battery does last very long. And I like to remove it at least once or twice a year to make sure there is no rust underneath. If you live in a humid environment or it's very hot and you sweat and it gets underneath the optic, there is a slight chance you might get some rust, so I just like to remove it and check. Depending on the optic cut or the plate system you have, that will dictate how close you get a return to zero. I've had some nicer ZEV slides, and those usually get pretty close when you put the optic back on. If you happen to have a plate system, you're definitely going to want to confirm your zero, but I recommend you do that regardless. The glass quality is very good in the Trijicon RMR. It does have a slightest blue tint, but that doesn't bother me at all. But the glass quality is very good. You can definitely tell that this is a very high quality optic. The dot brightness is also very good. It is definitely daylight bright, and it has a very well defined dot, and you can definitely tell the difference between this dot and dots on more inexpensive optics. If you happen to have an astigmatism, I like this. I do have a slight astigmatism, and this dot looks better than a dot on, say, a holosun or even like a Delta Point Pro. So this is my preference. Just remember, when you're inside and you're looking directly at your dot, it might look blurry, but when you're actually shooting the pistol, especially outside, and you're looking through the glass at your target, it's going to look a lot better, trust me. Compared to other optics, this is definitely a little bit nicer. it's my personal favorite. Like I said, if I can only choose one optic, it would be this. If you have the budget for it, definitely look at the Trijicon RMR. If you're on a budget, holosun is great too. I have a 508T. I actually carry a 508T, and I've had a 507C that I had over 20,000 rounds on, and that thing was very good. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. That'll be it. Thanks for watching, guys.